I am so excited to be here to share a little bit about our farm and our amazing llamas. I actually have 10 llamas and one alpaca. We'll introduce you to most of them today. And like Dana said, don't be shy to put those questions in the chat box. I could talk all day about llamas, and I really am more interested in knowing what you want to know about them as well. So we'll turn it back over to Earl. As Dana said, I'll take the reins, pun intended, I guess, which is awesome. But this is Earl. He is a 6-year-old llama. He just celebrated his 6th birthday in May. And llamas live to be about 15 to 25 years old is the average life expectancy. So hopefully he has a lot of road left to go. Yes, he is so fashionable. You see, he picked out this bow tie. All the colors are Earl's favorites. But my most favorite today is I don't think I've seen Earl's bangs kind of this puffed up and humid. I think the humidity here in Iowa is really giving the llamas some interesting hairstyles. So it's, not just us humans that suffer from the humidity with our hair frizzing out. The llamas get that vibe too. But we're located in eastern Iowa near Cedar Rapids, and we have a unique farm here. It's not a traditional farm that we do any crop or agriculture growing. Instead, we have a wildlife refuge and nature preserve that mimics a lot of what Iowa looked like before mass agriculture moved in for corn and soybean, which Iowa is known as the corn state for sure. So we have a couple llamas. They're actually the most eco-friendly livestock that you can keep. And we do guided llama hikes on our nature preserve, doing education about the importance of conservation here in Iowa. And then a handful of my llamas travel in our community, styling in the back of a minivan, I must add. I actually don't have a truck or trailer. They ride in the minivan and off we go. These animals go right inside nursing homes, care centers, schools, hospitals. They're really, really amazing. Now, not every llama is a good public relations llama. And of course, you have to have some llama drama. We'll talk a little bit more about kind of their different personality types, how they interact with each other, and certainly they have a lot of intelligence. Okay, I'm seeing this pop up. How many llamas can you fit in a minivan? I would say comfortably 2. Okay, they hop in the back of the minivan and they lay down because they don't like standing up with the off balance of the car on the road. 2 comfortably, but if you were in a pinch, you could probably squeeze 3 in there. But you got to be careful because llamas will spit on each other. Okay, I'm sure this is something that a lot of people are curious about, is the spitting. So well-trained llamas don't spit on us. It's actually something that they do to one another to show their displease. So food fights are a big one. Personal space is another one. And then dominance disputes. You can have a couple dominant llamas within your herd, and hierarchy can change based off who won the neck wrestle because they've got these wonderfully long necks, as we can see on Huckleberry here too, who's sporting a smiley face bandana. Huckleberry looks like he's might getting a little upset because there's a little social gathering over at the water fountain, which is funny, but we'll go say hello to the rest of them in a second. So the spitting is no doubt disgusting. They actually bring up contents from their stomach. So they're not really spitting. It's essentially throwing up on each other. And it is this horribly stinky green juice. And if you get any on you, you feel like you got to go shower because it smells so bad. I love everything about them, minus that. Doesn't Earl look innocent, everyone? He's like, not me. I never spit on anybody. He's actually a pretty chill llama. All right, so over here to my right, we'll jump to, see, this is our only alpaca, and his name is Simon, short for Simon Says, because he is a little bossy being our only alpaca. Now, Simon here is 8 years old, and you might see how much smaller he is next to Fable, who's just 4. So the alpacas are about half the size of llamas, but if you can't tell on the size alone, you'll always want to look to the shape of the ear to identify the difference. Alpacas have a pointed straight ear, which we're trying to see, but Simon and I might do a little dance. They've got a point, while the llama's ears are curved and have a banana shape. We might need to see a little better on Applejack here. You can see how Applejack's ears curve in like a banana. This is Applejack, everybody. He was my first llama, and he's adorable. He's hanging out too. All right, we met Huckleberry a little bit briefly, and then here's the silver beauty. This is Willoughby, and he is king of the drama in this herd. He's constantly pestering all the other llamas, fighting over food, and he's a big, big llama. He got to be a little over 6 feet tall and probably close to 425 pounds. Now, their height can change or can be a range anywhere from 5 to 6 feet tall, and weight ranges from 300 to 450 pounds. So we do see a variety of that, which can make it confusing with smaller llamas in telling the difference between alpacas. But I want y'all to remember, looking at that ear shape will be that dead giveaway every time. He's so cute, and they're such messy eaters. Now, these guys are related to the camel. Okay, they're part of the camel family. And with that, they've actually got 2 toenails on each foot, and just are adorable. They've got those big eyes and eyelashes like we see with their cousin, the camel. And the family's quite small. It's 1 and 2 hump camels, llamas, alpacas, and then the wild cousin of the llama, which is a guanaco, and the wild cousin of the alpaca, which is a vicuña. These animals originated, specifically llamas and alpacas, in South America. Anywhere along the Andes mountain range is where they're from. And the ancient Incan people and Andean Indians domesticated them to be mostly used as a pack animal, or the term we use is a beast of burden. So sorry to crush anyone's dreams if you think that, oh man, I'm going to go to Iowa and put a saddle on Earl and ride off into the sunset. They actually can't support much weight directly on their back. Instead, they wear packs where they wear side saddles and can pack about 1/3 of their adult body weight, carrying loads of anywhere from 90 to 150 pounds. I would say 150 is quite on the max. And they're commonly used as pack animals here in the United States, in the Rocky Mountains for multi-day trekking trips, and so much more around the world. And they have an important job of transporting salt across the Andes Mountains, where cars and motor vehicles cannot easily go. So wonderful trail companions. They graze along the way. They do eat plants, but when they're domesticated on a farm, they're predominantly eating pasture grass and hay. And then certainly some of them will enjoy some carrot slices or apple slices, but they certainly don't need it. But they're pretty easygoing animals that are very smart. And we have all males here in our herd. Is anybody thinking of some questions that are popped up that I might miss? I think we're going to go outside and see if we can find some other friends that are hanging out on the compost pile out here, which is so interesting. Funny. Yeah, is this funny? Okay, this is a little disgusting because it's the but it's mostly compost. Ollie, if you all can see him here, is always on top of the compost pile, and they will fight each other off of this, and it's like showing them that they are like king of the mountain is the basic the basic premise. So here's Ollie. Doesn't he look like he's really doing a good job here?
Oh, he's definitely is.
Kind of giving me a side eye. He's giving me the creeps a little bit. Look at this cute guy. This is Albie. Albie's just a 2-year-old llama. He's my youngest. He's very cute. And then we have Poet out here. I'm looking around because I don't see Sully. And Sully is usually hanging around. And then at this point, when you have 11 llamas, you really forget how many you have. Okay, and then, you know, on the many compost pile here is Bootleg Benny. I think you all will really enjoy him. He's an Appaloosa spotted llama, if you can see kind of all his cool colors. He's got these beautiful kind of brown and gray spots and speckles on him. Lots of folks say he looks like a giraffe, but he's very cool too. So there they are. Oh, and then Colin. This is my cat Colin, who just has to be in the middle of everything, so you all can say hi to the bonus cat.
So cute, Kaylee. Oh, Kaylee, I'm just gonna hop in. We do have a question in the chat box.
Yeah, I want to hear him. Let's do it.
Although cat's so cute. And I love the mini compost pile, just adorable. But
it's funny.
We have a question. Is there an alpha llama in the group?
That is such a great question. So we typically see a couple dominant personalities, and I see Sully over here. We'll go catch him. Hierarchy can change in a llama herd based off who challenges the other one to a neck wrestle or a spitting match. So though we have a few dominant personalities, we don't see a lot of the ones in the middle challenging the bigger ones because there's lots of peacekeepers. So in my herd, my dominant ones are Applejack, the big brown one that y'all saw in the beginning, and Simon, our alpaca, ironically, but Simon says because he's bossy. And then Willoughby, that big gray one. So the hierarchy can change. In the wild, it looks a little different. It's typically maybe 2 males running with a herd of 30 to 40 females and their babies. That's a really great question.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And then one last question. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about llamas acting as guard animals. So do they act as guard animals on your farm?
That's such a great question. Many people will keep a single llama in protecting smaller livestock such as sheep or goats. And most llamas have guardian instincts because they are a prey animal by nature. But it takes a really special llama to be a single llama protecting sheep or goats. And in other instances, you need to keep llamas with others of their kind. So if a guard llama is bonded with a sheep or goat herd, they will protect them from predators such as coyotes or bobcats, but not so much stand a pack of wolves in certain areas. And they will kick and stomp them to death to protect the sheep or goats. I've seen our llamas have standoffs with coyotes here in their pasture, and they do a really great job of scaring them off. So we do see some of them as livestock guardians. They're not going to be cuddly llamas that you're putting bandanas and bow ties on, okay? They're probably the ones that seem more aggressive and more assertive and are likely spitting at people because they are on high alert and have an important job to do. Great question.
Absolutely. Thank you for the answer. And then we do have another question from Lisa that just popped in the chat box. Do llamas and alpacas have any behavioral differences?
You know, not that I see, but you know, if we really want to get to it, alpaca people think alpacas are superior and llama people think llamas are superior, right? I tend to find that llamas are more social and curious with people than alpacas. And I think that's because of the specific domestication the llamas had of being a companion animal to people. While the alpacas were mostly raised and are noted to be one of the oldest domesticated animals on Earth, they were mostly raised for meat production and their hair to spin into yarn. So though our alpaca Simon is a 1 in a million alpaca, he rides in elevators and visits people all in our community, I tend to see that llamas are more friendly with people than alpacas just because of those history and domestication differences. Great question.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kaylee. I really appreciate that answer.
You're so welcome.
Awesome. Well, if anyone has any other questions, you can pop them in. We can take one more question before we say goodbye, unfortunately, to our llama buddies. So I'll just give another minute. But looking at Earl is always ready. Always so demure,
Isn't
right?
he hilarious? He loves the camera, and anytime he sees it, he's always looking at it. We call Earl, his nickname is the Red Carpet Llama. We always said that he was destined for Hollywood. And certainly if anybody follows any of our social media, you see him in all kinds of costumes. He simply doesn't care. He is just the quirkiest 1 in a million animal that I have ever met. He's just the jam. He's so cool.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Every time I get to see him, he's just always so fabulous. Abir asks, when do the llama wear costumes?
Oh yes, I mean, you know, definitely year round to bring smiles to people, but you know, all of the months that end in BER are my favorites: September, October, November, December, because in October we celebrate Llama-ween, and folks come to the farm and see the llamas dressed in a variety of different costumes. We do themes like Llamas of Oz or Llamas in Wonderland. This year might be Disney villains in llama form. So it's very funny. The llamas will wear costumes and dress up, and folks can come out and get pictures with them and then be on the farm with the Llama-ween llamas, which is so funny.
That is just the most incredible thing. I'm going to drop into Great Question of Beer, drop into the chat box a link to Prairie Patch Farms website. Definitely check it out. You can find their Instagram on there. So we totally follow them on social media. And definitely if you're in the area, visit. I'm going to pop back on camera here. But Kaylee, thank you so incredibly much. Do you have any closing remarks for us, Kaylee or Earl?
Oh, we're just so excited to spend a little bit of time with y'all virtually. Certainly seeing the llamas in person is the best, but having them virtual can be just as fun. So it was great to connect with you all. Y'all had fantastic questions, and feel free to connect with me on our social media or website, I would love to connect with you.
Great, Kaylee, thank you so incredibly much. And thank you, Earl, and all of the wonderful llamas out there.